Washington, and they want this one very much. It's also the middle of the conference season where upsets occur, so you have to be very careful. After all, it is Halloween, you know, and the Celtic spirits are out there somewhere. So it's a day of worry out here in the West.
All right, Keith, back to you in just a moment.
Whether you're in the beautiful city of Seattle or beyond, walk 3 times round your house backwards to ward off the transient evil spirits on a Halloween day. This massive costume party on ABC Sports College Football features a Pac-10 matchup, the Cardinal of Stanford and the #2 Washington Huskies. It is a wet and cool day, but not terribly uncomfortable. And if the wind stays quiet as it is now, it will not be a bad day to play a game of football. Hey, makeup's not bad. You might move that eye down just a little bit, though.
Walk 3 times backwards, huh?
All right, we've got ourselves a game of finesse offense and helmet-busting defense here.
Well, and the weather, if it gets any worse, is not going to be in favor of the finesse team, that being Stanford. You're going to see 2 of the outstanding small men in college football today, both 5'9", both about 175 pounds. Glenn Milburn comes in the #3 all-purpose runner in the nation, and he has also caught 129 passes coming in. Napoleon Kaufman, on the other hand, is 3rd in the conference in rushing. And, you know, Keith, for Stanford to have a chance to win, Milburn must have a big day.
He excels on special teams, but it's defense that at times have carried both these teams this year.
Well, Ron George is the outstanding player for Stanford. He leads the Pac-10 in sacks, and Dave Hoffman for Washington, All-American. He is #2 in sacks in the conference.
Incredibly, after 66 games, this series is all even at 31-31-4. The Huskies have won the last 8, and as you can tell, the Huskies have just come into the house. The importance of this game I reflected vividly there in the Pac-10 standings. Stanford loses today and they're out of it. Washington could lose today and still stay involved. Aaron Mills will kick it off for the white-shirted Cardinal. Iteka Huckabee and Napoleon Kaufman wait for it. It is Huckabee losing his footing and falling down. I told you the Celtic spirits were about. So his teammates try to jack him up here as he spun his wheels and never got out of the box. And the Huskies have to start at their own 13-yard line with Mark Brunell, the senior from Santa Maria, California, back in there as the starting quarterback. 107 attempts without an interception, you can see. He runs a very orderly ball game, but Napoleon Kaufman has been making a lot of noise for the Washington Huskies of late. Their wideouts, however, this year have been green, learning on the job. Go to Kaufman on the opening play. And from the 13 out close to the 18, a 5-yard pickup before John Lynch brings him down. Up front for Washington in the diehard starting lineup, Lincoln Kennedy, of course, is the man most people know about. Big fella, and he's very obvious, number 75. Again, you've got young people here who have been learning on the job. But Washington said to be getting Pete Caligas back at a guard position by the end of the month. Maybe by the middle of November, he could be back playing full-time. Brunell, the left-hander, a little quick butt, has his first down. The pass completed to Damon Mack makes the catch just beyond the marker. And it'll be first down Huskies as they get out of the hot spot and move it beyond the 20 to the 24. Esteban Avila has caused a lot of trouble for quarterbacks so far during the course of this season, with 7 headbusters on the signal callers. These 2 linebackers for Stanford are really, truly outstanding football players. And in the secondary, it's John Lynch having a terrific season. Mark Brunell is the running quarterback for the Huskies. He handles the option very well. He's a big, strong guy at 205 pounds, so he brings some tools to the ball yard that some of the other folks might not. He's brought down by Avila on that play. So the Huskies ranked 2nd in the nation. They had been 1st. They slipped down a bit. But Don James poo-poos the national ranking business. Doesn't mean a thing in his mind, he says, until you get to January 2nd. Call it 2nd down and 6. coverage is good by Stanford. Very good. Intercepted as he tried to lob the pass over the head of Darian Gordon, and Gordon would not have it, and he intercepts, and the Cardinal owned the football. First down at the Washington 37. And it's those kind of mistakes that can turn expectations aside.
Well, his primary receiver in the slot to our right will fall down. Now he has to look back to his right, back to his left, comes back to his right, tries to throw over the short man. By this time, the timing is all foul, and Gordon makes the interception.
Husky crowd, it'll be about 75,000. Very partisan folk here. They make the noise as Steve Stenstrom jumps it off. Pressure was coming, and the Husky defense is going to lay its ears back and really go after him. That was Andy Mason doing it there. Here's the diehard starting lineup for Stanford. Obviously, Steve Stenstrom is the man, 13-3 as a starter. He's had an outstanding career so far with a year to go. But the man of all purpose is Glenn Milburn. He runs it, he catches it, he returns kicks. The wideouts are all young. Justin Armour was a quarterback just a year ago. J.J. Lasley runs the ball here, and he's having a pretty good season. And he gets a short yardage for the Stanford Cardinals. They're running behind the largest offensive line in college football. Steve Hoyam and Brian Cassidy are the biggest, and those weights are approximate depending on how long they lingered at the breakfast table today.
And 3 of those 5, Keith, are 6'7" or taller.
It is now 3rd down and 8, and here comes the crowd again. The crowd is the 12th man at Husky Stadium. Stenstrom, quick drop, quick pop, pass caught by Cook, and he'll have Armour, and he'll have a first down at the 26-yard line. Justin Armour, 6'6", 215. Mike Cook, split in, is 6'4" and 200. They're both lanky. Steve Hoffman, the number 54 middle linebacker, is a Butkus Award nominee. I'm sorry, Dave Hoffman is the man here. Steve Hoffman, his younger brother, who is a freshman from San Jose, playing right in front of him. So the Hoffman brothers are going to be very obvious today because Mike Lustig is hurt. And Josh Moore is a man that Stanford might want to pick on. He is the green one in the secondary. Stenstrom back, throws underneath. Milburn has the ball squared away from him. And the lick is put on him by Josh Moore, and sure enough, they start right away picking on Moore. He is a sophomore from Torrance, California. They put Milburn out there and got him in a man situation, and he knocked the ball out.
You know, Washington, after that last interception, Washington has been very good after a turnover. Their offense has turned the ball over 12 times this year, 12 giveaways. Their defense have allowed no points. They've taken the ball away 20 times, and offensively, they've scored 58 points. That is huge. That's a huge figure right there.
Huskies right now have 6 people up on the line, now 7 as they come hard. The pass is incomplete, and Stenstrom is taken down by Hoffman, Dave Hoffman. So he came off the corner, and the pass is off the hands of the receiver.
Hoffman moves to the outside. He's normally a middle linebacker. It's Stenstrom a little bit low, but you will not see the Stanford quarterback taking many deep drops as the linebackers. Hoffman, as we mentioned, second in the Pac-10 in sacks. They'll be blitzing a lot, so the idea for Stanford, quick drops, quick passes, get rid of the football.
And the Cardinal right now, with 3rd and 10 coming up, opportunity at hand, will take time to talk. No score yet. In today's ball game, Bill Walsh is celebrating return to the farm at Stanford. Don James, of course, the dean of the Pac-10 coaches and the winningest of them all. All right, it is 3rd down and 10 for Stanford. They've got their play in mind, and here they come. Stenstrom is 1 out of 4. They send Milburn in motion, make him a wide out. There is contact along the line of scrimmage, and it's the call for the man in the striped shirt. Let's just wait. I don't know whether somebody moved. A Michigan score is now final as the Wolverines dodged one.
Start on the offense.
It was a false start by Stanford. I thought it might have been, but I wasn't sure. And so that'll back them up 5. And it'll make it 3rd down and 15. Pat Flood is your referee. Stenstrom looking to the sideline for the score. There's a shocker. BYU beating Penn State roundly.
He's looking to the sideline for the play. He'd like to get a score, but that's interesting. That play was a good play after the timeout. Interesting to see now if they come back with the same play. Probably won't. Different formation.
This time Milburn stays put on 3rd and 15. Down the middle. Got a man open. Touchdown. Stanford just in armor. So the young man who was a quarterback a year ago out of Manitou Springs, Colorado, 215-pound sophomore, just went loping right down the middle on a post pattern and hauled it in, and Stanford jumps to the lead on a play of 31 yards.
That is the first time that an opponent has scored after Washington has turned the ball over all year long.
Eric Abrams out of La Jolla puts it in the air, and it is good. 11:57 to go in the first quarter, and Stanford goes to a 7-0 lead. It's the first penalty of the season.
Couple interesting things. They got him in a 2-deep zone right here. The two safeties are. Look at the formation. It's not spread out very wide. Now the tight end's going to come down and occupy the safety. Armour's going to come down the middle of the field from the flanker position. Both backs stay in to give him maximum protection, and the flanker sneaks down as Pauakoa, who knocked Stenstrom out of the game last year, gets beaten for the touchdown this year.
Kick goes to Huckabee. This time he has his wheels under him. Comes out to the 20, and good coverage downfield by the Cardinal as Kevin Garnett makes the tackle. And so Washington, which has at times this season been a slow-starting, struggling offense, find themselves in a hole again.
Well, this is the first time all year that Washington and Don James has been behind at all. I mean, they've been in lead the whole season.
Now we'll see if Brunell is the man to lead him from behind. He turns and hands to Matt Jones, and that's about a 5-yard pickup for the Washington fullback as we go to John Saunders.
Well, Keith, you
get into the middle of the conference seasons, and there are folks around that don't like you from 3 generations ago. You can lose any Saturday when you play it inside an old conference. This is Napoleon Kaufman, and he's run down just short of his line of scrimmage by John Lynch, who is a senior from Solana Beach, California. Just about a yard short of his first down. But it's the little men who make the big noise in both the offenses of these two teams, and both of them are multi-purpose people. You're talking about Washington not being behind all this season, even though they have been a slow starting kind of an offensive team. The last time the Huskies trailed was November 23rd, 1991 against Washington State, 7-6. It's Kaufman again, and Napoleon from Lompoc blazes his way to the 37-yard line. Now let's check in with Jackaroo.
Keith, you mentioned that it was Halloween. Well, if there's any ghosts and goblins around this Husky Stadium, they'd better wear water wings, because it has been raining off and on since yesterday. But look, the field is pretty dry compared to the rain that we've had, because they cover the field. But the Stanford team have brought special shoes that they're only wearing for the second time in their career today at Husky Stadium.
Wore them last week in Corvallis and pulled out a win. Pass is completed to the tight end, Mark Bruner, a big sophomore from Aberdeen. And he's belted out of bounds at the 43, and a good pickup on the play of about 6 yards. So Brunell now gets a couple of first downs and gets some real estate behind him, and probably feels more in a position to put it in the air. Double wide, bottom of your picture now. Jason Shelley is one of those out there, big long-legged freshman. They try to run the ball over the left side. Matt Jones and Tyrone Parker will have none of it. The big senior from Brooklyn takes him down right about the line of scrimmage. Ron George, number 29 there, and number 42, Dave Garnett. They have been outstanding football players at Stanford. They're both seniors.
The strength of this Stanford team has been their defense. Bill Walsh, coming to Stanford, has gotten all the play, but look what this Cardinal defense in the nation. They're third best in total defense and pass defense in the nation.
Brunell back, gets his pass off. He's lucky to get that one back because number 4, Vaughn Bryant, had stepped in front of the intended receiver, Shelley. Shelley had gone down, made a simple turn to the outside. He put virtually no move at all on Bryant, and Bryant just ate him up.
Shelley is the true freshman, and Don James wants to get some speed in there. And talking about speed, this man right here has returned 2 punts for touchdowns this year.
John Wardell, I am sure, is under orders. Don't kick it straight to him. If you can get a lot of air under it, fine. But don't give him a chance to run it back. And a low-line drive will give him that chance. Kick it away from him. He didn't get a whole lot of air under it, and sure enough, Milburn got a hold of it and brought it back half a dozen yards. So not a particularly good kick. Only 28 yards, an 8-yard return, 9:22 to go first quarter, and Stanford leading 7-0. ABC Sports will go to Soldier Field in Chicago for the old NFC Central showdown next Monday night. Quarterback Jim Harbaugh and the Bears cranking it up against the division-leading Minnesota Vikings. That's at 9 Eastern on ABC's NFL Monday Night Football.
And a year ago, Denny Green, who is the coach of the Vikings, was the head coach of Stanford. The transition made very easy because of the terminology from the 49ers where he was before with Bill Walsh.
Give it to Milburn, and Milburn is popped down in a hurry. The man making the tackle is number 47, Jamal Fontaine. This is the way the Pac-10 will be active today and tonight. UCLA just barely able to scrape together enough people to go play anymore. The ball club has just been absolutely destroyed by injury. There was a loss on the play by Milburn of a half a yard, second down, and about 11. Stenstrom back, pressure coming from the outside. Pressure runs him out of the pocket, goes to the safety valve. That's Lashley, the running back. And he's got a first down for the Cardinals at the Washington 46-yard line. Walter Bailey finally brought him down.
This is a very nice job by Stenstrom. Washington plays a pressure defense, lots of tight coverage in the secondary, and Stenstrom, his receivers initially were not open, bought some time, moved around, and then found Lashley. Stenstrom is going to need to do that most of the day because the timing routes are not going to be there on time.
He's now 3 out of 6 for 57 yards. That's Armour in motion. Give it to Milburn. Milburn goes down right about the line of scrimmage in the arms of James Clifford, the inside linebacker, playing inside along with Dave Hoffman. Clock running and 8 minutes to go first quarter. Stanford leading 7-0. 31-yard touchdown pass, Stenstrom to Armour. He was on third down and 15, and it came after a penalty. So the Cardinal now looking at 2nd and 10 from the 46. Stenstrom back, pressure coming, down he goes, fumbles the football. Huskies dive after it, and they get it. Andy Mason looped around the outside and knocked it loose, and the Huskies have recovered it. Pressure, pressure, pressure. Fontaine, I think, covered it.
This is it right here. Mason is going to be tried to be blocked by the tight end. That's Wet Night. He just beats him. Mason came into the ball game with 5 sacks on the year. Just does an outstanding job, and that's a big turnover. Stenstrom has got to know that he cannot hold the ball that long against this defense.
Now it's the Stanford defense that loads up against Brunell. He takes a quick drop, quick pop. The receiver never saw it. Pass was intended for Mack. He never looked back for it. Vaughn Bryant was covering.
Obviously a miscommunication. that is one of the problems when you switch quarterbacks back and forth. Billy Joe Hobart had been playing, started 5 or 6 games, and then Brunell. That obviously was a stop-and-go route, but if you have a bump situation, the route changes. One guy saw it one way, the other saw it a different.
Brunell turns. This time they hand the ball away. It goes to Napoleon Kaufman. He runs it for a couple of yards up to about the 49. Let's go to John Saunders. Yeah, John, you know, everybody making all the noise about Garrison Hurst, and he deserves it. I'll tell you something else in a minute. 3rd down and 8. Here's Brunell on a rollout. Throws it out of bounds, incomplete. Ball was caught out of bounds. But Georgia has a quarterback named Zaire that ain't bad. And a guy named Hastings that can run and catch it with the best in the country.
Well, the balance that they have there is working well for all of them.
Yep. Really opens the door for those running backs when you have that kind of a threat, because the Georgia team was carried last year by Eric Zaire.
That's right.
Right here, the Huskies are going to have to kick it away again as Wardell comes in to punt. His first one was 28 yards, and he kicked a low knuckleball right to Milburn. Glenn's back there on the 15 right now. And he didn't get much of that one either, but there is a fair catch call for this one up around the 20. And so the Cardinal will take over there, leading by a score of 7-0. Well, there's a reason for what you're about to see. Their names are Mike Wilson, Keena Turner, Bill Ring, and Bill Walsh. It's a lot of rings.
Actually, there's 5 former players on that squad, and all of them are coaching for the first time under Bill Walsh.
Ty Benjamin being the other. He's a quarterback.
Graduate assistant.
Yeah. First down for Stanford from their 20-yard line, leading 7-0, and it is raining. A succession of squalls passing through. The pass thrown underneath the Milburn, got a first down. They send a wide out down that Mike Cook goes down. He takes out a Husky defender with him. Another one trailed him. And lo and behold, there was Milburn. Big gain on the play up past the 40 to the 41. Stanford going no huddle. Rain is hard. Play on a rug. As long as the wind stays quiet, it won't be a great factor. Stenstrom back. Good protection all day. Up the middle, a lot of open space. Takes off. And he is belted at the 45. And he is hit hard by Steve Hoffman, the younger brother. And Steve gets up a little gingerly after the whack from Steve Hoffman. He's still growing, 6'6", 250, and a redshirt freshman.
Well, Stenstrom can ill afford to get hurt. They need him in this ball game. The depth at quarterback is not there for Stanford. The weather, as you mentioned, Keith, the wetness won't bother him, but if the wind and wetness comes together, that's when you have a real problem.
Nathan Olson checks into the backfield, a name you haven't heard a lot, but a lot of new people starting to play as we come to the month of November. Crowd jumps into it. Handed off on an inside play. Penalty flag flies. Pickup was about 2 yards. Let's check in with John Saunders.
South.
That could take Tennessee out of the big bowl consideration right there. And it's a big thing for Georgia in that Eastern Division of the Southeastern Conference. Penalty is against Stanford. Back them up 5. Make it 2nd down and 10. The Cardinal leads 7-0. Time you see there in the first quarter. 5:25. J.J. Leslie joins Milburn now in the backfield for the Cardinals. Quick drop. Again, very good protection for Stenstrom. Pitches the ball out to Leslie. He's going to be bulldogged at about the 40-yard line on a play made by number 3, Jaime Fields. He is a senior out of Linwood, California, and he's one of those linebackers that's not that big, but he can really run.
But take a look at this Washington defense, Keith. 9 or 10 guys up. He wants to go to this receiver out here. Now watch as he gets jammed. Everything is going to be bottled up. Everything wants to be 3 steps and throw. There's linebackers between he and the receiver. Nobody is open. Pressure defense by Washington in tight coverage. They'll be looking at that all day.
3rd down and 11 now at the 40 for Stanford.
All 11 of them up near the line of scrimmage.
Fields got him. Jaime Fields looped from the outside and got him. 34th time a Stanford quarterback has been sacked this season.
Well, it's just tough to figure out what Washington is doing defensively. They jump around so much. They're so aggressive. It's tough on a young quarterback.
Napoleon Kaufman waits for the punt of Paul Stonehouse. Kick is away. Wet ball. Didn't go very far. Kaufman looking for help. Got it. Help on the corner. One man. That's all. He's gone. Down to the 5. Down on the 4. The pursuit finally ran him down. Number 8 for Stanford ran him down. That's Kwame Ellis. 34-yard punt, a 64-yard return.
We mentioned at the opening the excitement that these 2 young men bring. There's a clip right there. Kaufman and Milburn. Kaufman has not returned a punt for a touchdown. There's the kicker going down.
When he cut back into the traffic. And they were able to get him inside the 5, and it's officially a 65-yard punt return. 1st and goal for Washington. Jay Barry, who has been hurt, checks in at tailback, and Barry runs it and picks up about a yard. He's had a turf toe, and the sharp pain is gone from it. There is still pain there, but he says, this I can handle.
He's missed the last 4 ball games, Keith. And they need him for that strong inside running.
That's right. He's a big, strong guy, and you've still got to have, even though the quick little people have become the stars right now in all these new offenses, you still need those big backs in this kind of a circumstance. Brunell kept it and didn't go anywhere. He did not go anywhere. Number 16, Sayon Albert, stepped up and made the hit on him.
Nice play by Albert. Playing the option very well. Washington inside the 20. 25 times they've been in there, and they've scored 18 touchdowns. And Stanford, defensively, the Cardinals have only allowed 13 penetrations inside the 20 and 9 touchdowns.
The big man Kennedy is on the left side of the Washington line. They roll that way. Brunell's got to dump it. Gets his pass off. He's got a man wide open. Touchdown. Leif Johnson. The Stanford defense did everything in the world but hang him on a sycamore tree, and he still got the touchdown.
Well, they did hold on to him a little bit. Obviously, Mark Brunell makes the play with his scrambling ability.
The extra point try by Travis Henson. It's tied. At 1 minute, 58 seconds to go in the first quarter, it's a 7-7 tie. That's the 83rd time of 99 tries inside the 20 that Washington has scored during its 21-game win streak.
The primary receiver on this is the tight end right here, and this is George, the linebacker. Now watch as the play develops how the tight end is going to be thrown to the ground. Watch, George holds on to him, and then down he goes. That was the primary receiver. Now Brunell comes back with his own athletic ability and finds Johnson way over. This option is not in there. I mean, this is just something you do in practice for fun.
Well, it's Johnson's first catch this year and only the second in his career.
Yep.
So, look what I found, Mom.
Yep. Mark Brunell. There's Johnson. Says, I'm over here. I'm not supposed to be. This has never happened. You've never thrown it to me over here. But look,
don't drop it.
Look what I found.
Lord, help me hold on to it.
Yeah.
All right, score's tied as the Huskers will kick it off now. Milburn and Allen are the two deep people for the Cardinal. Travis Hansen does the kicking off. It's a good kick. They bump together, but it's Milburn breaking up the middle. And finally knocked down as he crosses the 30. And he does make you hold your breath when he runs that ball. Whew. That's the conclusion of today's game. We'll select the Chevrolet most valuable player from each team. And for the 22nd year, the Chevrolet Scholarship Program will offer $1,000 to the General Scholarship Fund of each school. 31-yard line, first down for the Cardinal. A 7-7 tie as we have 1:52 to go in the first quarter on a wet, cool day in Seattle. That's the tight end, Ryan Wetnight, going in motion. Stenstrom under pressure goes down. Third time they've sacked him. Steve Hoffman. So the younger brother is having a pretty good day. That's twice he's got the Stanford quarterback and put him down.
There again, Stanford trying to hit the wide receivers on quick slants. Stenstrom looks and sees that it's not there and then just pulls it down and doesn't have any other options to go to. Stanford has had the ball 3 times, scored on the first possession, and the longest pass of the season for Stanford. That was a 31-yard touchdown to Armour.
Seven Huskies up there. Here they come. Fontaine and then Fields. First Fontaine and then Fields, and that's 4 sacks. And the loss is back inside the 20-yard line. Here's John. Washington defense turning instant drama here. I mean, they have just taken over for the time being. Now the Cardinals have got to try something different on 3rd down and 21. They try something different. They give it to Glenn Milburn and let him run it. And it's not a bad-looking play as he comes out to the 35-yard line, where Paukoa makes the tackle.
Not a bad-looking play, Keith, but certainly not enough for the first down, and they're going to have to punt the ball away.
Stonehouse is in to punt. Hoffman is going back for Washington. Napoleon standing back just inside his 30. Pretty good kick. 24-yard line. Comes back this way, gets a little bit of help. There's a penalty flag down. That's probably a clip or at least a block in the back, because it was thrown by a man trailing the play across the way. The clock stops with 1 second to go in the first quarter. 42-yard punt and a 10-yard return. And let's see what Pat has to say.
Illegal block in the back on the return. 10 yards from the spot of the foul. First
Keith,
down.
you know, we've talked so many times that since 1986, Coach Don James has looked for speed when he looks at recruits. Well, let me tell you what he does. He has a dictum. There are 3 things that a recruit must do. He tells all of his coaches, either a player in his senior year plays track so he can time better the 40s, or they time him themselves. He has to come to a camp. They time him there. If they can't tell, they say, check his vertical jump. James feels that there's a direct correlation between speed and how high a gentleman can jump. He says sometimes we lose players, but most of the time we get the quick ones.
Ball rests at the 15-yard line.
That doesn't mean they check them when they get them here on campus. They like to have them in track, in high school track, or a vertical jump somewhere from high school. But I think that borders on being illegal if you do those things when you get them on campus here.
Brunell turns and hands the ball to Matt Jones, and the fullback out of Portland, Oregon, will get it up to about the 19-yard line, and the first quarter is over. Kind of fun, hasn't it? And it's even at 7. All-purpose yards so far, if you're keeping track of that, between Kaufman and Milburn. Kaufman 84, Milburn 72. Huskies ball, 2nd down and 6 as we start the second quarter of play. Brunell pass, long pass across the field, and Vaughn Bryant is right there for Jason Shelley. Shelley goes in. Kelly's not doing anything. He's just going out there and planting his feet. And Bryant with a half a step from taking that ball to the end zone. They need a yard on 3rd down. Kansas continues to win. 24-yard line. Jones, the fullback, 1st down to the 35-yard line and across it. So they pop it over the right side behind Garcia and Gallagher.
First quarter stats, the plays are even. Only 2 first downs for Washington and 78 yards passing for Stanford. What you don't see there is that big punt return by Napoleon Kaufman for Washington that set up their first score. Also, Stanford had 4 sacks offensively in that first quarter.
Option, pitch it out to Kaufman. Kaufman looking for some daylight, finds it. Oh boy, he found it inside the Stanford 35-yard line before Vaughn Bryant finally brings him down.
Take a look at the line blocking, a little twist by Stanford. The toss, huge gaping hole. That's Lynch. He leads the team in tackles, but he doesn't have the speed or the quickness to do anything about this. In fact, not many of the Stanford players do. Bryant finally runs him down.
Napoleon out to get a deep breath. Jay Barry checks into the backfield on 1st down, and Brunell puts it in the air. It is caught. Pass caught by Damon Mack. He went out much higher than you would think for a 6-footer and reeled it in.
Just going to be a little stop pattern. Washington has really relied on their running game the last few ball games. Their passing game has not been there. They lost 2 wide receivers, Mario Bailey and Orlando McKay. They don't have the speed they had last year outside.
Little option action here with Barry getting the ball. Block is on the corner. Penalty flag at the line of scrimmage. That one may come back. Holding Huskies. When I saw Mack stretched out like that, like hanging from a limb of a tree, my ribs started hurting right up just that quickly. Oh, you hate to be hung out like that.
The offense, 10 yards in the spot of the foul. Repeat 2nd down.
Oh yeah, that's a tackle. That's number 65. That's Frank Garcia, the strong side guard, trying to make a reach block to cut off the defender from flowing with the play.
Just what Frank wanted, right?
Yeah.
Close up on television.
Yeah. on a negative play. He's in there for Caligas, Pete Caligas, who may be back next week from injury. 35-yard line, 2nd down and 10. Look at this. Barry hit, won't go down, still trying. And back to the line of scrimmage. He got away from Ron George. George said yesterday when Stanford came in to just run around the field and get a feel of the place, he said, man, I'd play on broken legs to get in this game because there's nobody on this Stanford squad that's ever beaten the Washington team. And they're Cardinals smarting a bit from that 42-7 lacing they took a year ago down home. It's 3rd down and 9. For Washington. 16 starters return for Stanford and 10 starters on defense. This defense has been outstanding all year.
Jim Neville snaps it to Mark Brunell. Has good protection, has a man, Shelley. First down, Huskies. That time you saw what Shelley's future is going to be. He's a lanky youngster at 6'2", 180, but he can sky. Great leaper.
Top of your screen, top right. The inside receiver is just going to clear out, go across field. Shelley really is supposed to be running a square in, just kind of rounds it. But he'll get better. And he's in there because of his speed. They need some quickness outside.
Brunell has now hit 5 in a row. And the Huskies are sitting first down at the Cardinals' 16-yard line. Give it to Matt Jones. That's about a 3, maybe 4-yard pickup on the carry. At 11:15 to go in the first half and a 7-7 tie. The Huskies now threatening to untie it. Don James in the Oregon game. Player collided with him on the sideline, knocked him onto the bench. Early on in this week, he went to have minor surgery to straighten up his cheekbone. It was fractured in 3 places. He didn't even take any pain pills yesterday. This is Hoffman. And Napoleon at 5'9", 170 shows you something of his strength.
These are tough running yards. When you get inside the 15 to 10-yard line, it's not easy running. But the Washington line does a nice job. That's Lincoln Kennedy, number 75, pushing him around. Talking about that surgery he had early in the week, I thought Carol, his wife, had a great line. She said when it happened a couple of weeks ago, it's much easier to replace a husband this time of year than it is a middle linebacker.
First and goal, Washington. Brunell. Touchdown. So Washington trying to make a statement.
Well, Brunell is no stranger to the end zone. A couple of years ago, he was hurt last year. A couple of years ago, he was in on 25 touchdowns for the Huskies. In fact, he led the team in scoring as a quarterback.
Travis Hansen for the point. Good. 10:19 to go first half. Washington 14, Stanford 7. Mark Brunell stuck it in the end zone. 2 electrifying runs by Napoleon Kaufman to key the drive. 9 major newspapers across the country had their people here this week. There are several of the leading sport magazines as well. There are 3 AP poll voters here. They were holding the door for them. Travis Hansen kicks off. High hanger back into the end zone goes Ethan Allen, and he will bring it out to the 20. First down. College football next week here on ABC. The old conference matchups now jumping into view. Alabama goes to LSU. Death Valley. Be careful. There will be a very important Pac-10 game next week. We'll hope to be able to tell you about it as this day wears on. We'll also have Big Ten or Southwest Conference action. And in the WAC, Marshall Faulk in San Diego will go to Laramie, Wyoming, where the wind blows. Stanford. Check the game for the game in the listing for the game in your area. Call pay-per-view for the game that might be available to you on pay-per-view television. Milburn is decked after 2 yards by Dave Huffman.
You saw that graphic. Stanford with only 4 yards rushing. They come into the game last in the Pac-10 in rushing, and Hoffman and the rest of the Huskies are tough to run against. Billy Joe Hobart has been the case in the alternating quarterbacks. The one that doesn't start usually gets a couple series in the second quarter.
Second down and 8 for the Cardinals from their own 22. Stenstrom lets it go, and it is caught. And back defending on the play for the Washington Huskies was Lewis Jones. He knew where the ball was, but it was one of those things where it was like you're in a dream. Your feet are in quicksand. He couldn't get himself going to get it.
Stenstrom is going to roll out to get away from the penetration right there. The penetration catches up with him. He has been sacked 36 times this year and been knocked down similar to that after he threw it a lot of times. Clifford, number 53 on that one.
But he got his first down. It's just beyond the 31. Ellery Roberts is in now at fullback. He had a big week last week, and he carries the ball right here. He is a 215-pounder, and he pounds over the right side for about 3 yards.
Keith, the thing you have to realize, and Stanford has to keep in mind, against this style of defense, Washington's aggressive, attacking, penetrating defense, you're going to have a bunch of bad plays, maybe a bunch of them in a row. But then you're going to make some big plays, and you have to look for those big plays. And right there, Bill Walsh is looking for some. This is a finesse offense. He doesn't have the power runner like Tommy Vardell from last year. It's finesse, and that's what he's trying to find some good plays.
On 2nd down and 7, at the line of scrimmage, Lewis Jones and Jamal Fontaine on the tackle of Milburn.
You know, you say this is a finesse team for Stanford. Their offensive line certainly isn't finesse. In fact, they're really too big. Bill Walsh has said that he wanted them to lose some weight. They average 6'7" and 294 pounds.
Well, you got those big guys like that. You come up with a 220-pound tackle like USC's doing. They just simply run around.
They're too big and too slow.
3rd down and 7. Leslie misses the block. Pass is intercepted by James Clifford. He's on his way to the end zone. Touchdown. No flags. That play belongs to the 2 inside linebackers. Dave Hoffman gets in Stenstrom's space, and James Clifford intercepts it and scores.
54, the linebacker, comes right up the middle. He puts the pressure, the 1 inside linebacker. And then Clifford, number 53, knows that the man is crossing. They know where Milburn is on every play. Saw the quarterback. A very instinctive player is Clifford. Jim Lambright, the defensive coordinator, saying he is our best at getting turnovers. 42 yards on the touchdown.
It's a 42-yard return. Penalty flag thrown across the way as they had come up to the line for the extra point try. Here's Pat Flood. After he explains it to Lynch, John Lynch.
5-yard delay penalty on the offense. Celebration enforced on the kickoff.
They'll enforce it on the kickoff. They'll go ahead with the extra point here at 7:55 to go in the first half. Washington with a successful point try from Hanson will lead it 21-7. Slider, but he handled it, and it's good, and the Huskies by 14. There's a lot of things to see here, including this engineering marvel. The Chittenden locks, where vessels pass from freshwater into saltwater and vice versa. Those are the Cascades, and down there behind the cover of clouds is majestic Mount Rainier. Washington, as you see, has run off 21 unanswered points in a little over 9 minutes to lead 21-7. We'll kick it off now from the 30-yard line, which moves Glenn Milburn and Ethan Allen up a bit. And Travis Hanson, who knocked the last kickoff way back into the end zone, will hit this one pretty well again. Good kick. Milburn again drifts over in front of Allen, takes the ball, and works his way out to the 25. That's the second time that Milburn's come over and bumped into Allen.
Let's go back to that interception, Keith. Take a look. Here's Hoffman right there. He's going to come up the middle. Now, the man they're trying to get the ball to over here is Milburn. Now, the other linebacker, Clifford, is right here. Of course, he'll see it also. What they're trying to do is know where Milburn is at all times. Yes, Clifford sees it coming and jumps in front of him.
From the 25 as the rain resumes. We just had one little squall after another. It's been like this for a couple of days now. It's going to be like it for a couple of more days. That is, well, you got a lot of phrases for that one, ranging all the way from balloon to wounded goose. Jamal Fontaine was all over Steve Stenstrom, and he just threw it in the seats.
The problem with Stenstrom, what he's having is he doesn't have a lot of time to throw, and both of his wide receivers are tall and not real quick, so they can't get away from the tight coverage. They don't have a running game, and the only big play quick guy they have is Milburn.
Both lanky wideouts now are together at the bottom of the picture. Armour 6'6" and Cook 6'4". So they've got a distinct height advantage as Stenstrom changes the play. But you got the two tall guys out here together. They run the ball inside, and there's just nothing there.
Did you hear the crowd, Keith? As soon as they saw the quarterback starting to check off, their roar just elevated.
Penalty flag. Stanford burned the clock, so they'll back up 5 on delay of game at 7:40 to go in the first half. 21-7 Washington.
Steve Stenstrom, the quarterback for Stanford, has attempted 10 passes. He's been sacked 4 times and hit after he threw the ball on 5 others, so there's only been 1 time he's thrown the ball that he has not been hit.
Jumps it again.
They're all up there.
Down he goes. Penalty flags are flying, and it was Fontaine and Tommy Smith. And Smith really got a lick on it. Holding against Stanford. Go as a sack.
Take a look at what he's looking at right here. Look, everybody. There you go. Everybody is up there, and tight man coverage out here and some man coverage out there. So all 11 guys are up near the line of scrimmage. Stenstrom can't figure it out, and nobody can get open very quickly.
What's the matter? Your finger got the flu or what?
This thing's acting up again. I have to slap it upside the head. I think it's some of those guys you were sending around.
The Celtic
forgot to walk around the house 3 times backwards.
Raining again. 3rd down and 20. Stenstrom's pass is away, and it is incomplete. And there were 4 Huskies in the neighborhood and 1 Stanford wideout, Mike Cook. Stenstrom is down, hurting. Stenstrom is hurt. You know what may have happened? He may have rammed his throwing hand on the top of a helmet. Take a look at it now, because he may very well have bounced that hand off a helmet.
He's been banged up all year. Without a running game, you stress your passing game.
Elbow. Fontaine coming in on him, and his right elbow hit right on top of his helmet.
How about the end of that play, Keith? He got jammed into the ground, too.
It looks like it's his left side, though, that hurts him.
It's bad news for Stanford.
So Butterfield's got to hop up and get busy in a hurry. Mark Butterfield is a sophomore from Antioch. And Stenstrom is coming off after being jammed into the artificial surface here. And they're holding the left shoulder. That looks like shoulder.
Could be shoulder or elbow or wrist. Probably not wrist. I don't know. Maybe it is the wrist. You just don't know. It's just something on the left side.
So Stonehouse will now have to punt the ball out of his end zone. And Napoleon Kaufman is standing right at midfield. Kaufman already has 124 multi-purpose yards. Right on the goal line. He should hit this one around his 3 or 4 yard line. Got Got some pressure. Penalty flag down. Washington has decked the kicker. They put him down hard as Kilpatrick ran into him. Stonehouse gets up very gingerly. It is roughing the kicker.
I think he's going to slide into him or underneath him as much as anything else from the yeah, he slides. Yeah, the wet surface, and Stonehouse falls right on his back.
Yeah, hit on his hip.
Well, Stanford has big problems now because Stenstrom had taken most every snap this year. Butterfield has only thrown 14 passes on the season.
So first down goes with that call. It was 4th and 20 when he slid underneath him and got the foul. So Mark Butterfield, at 6'4", 200 pounds, a sophomore from Antioch, California, is in the ball game. They've been trying to give him as many snaps and as much playing time as possible, but as you can see by his stats on the season, he hasn't had that much. Now the Huskies, for a little while at least, can really gang up and jump all over Glenn Milburn. Tomorrow night on ABC, Halloween continues for one more day with a special holiday edition of America's Funniest Home Videos. And then at a special earlier time, Julia Roberts and Richard Gere will star in the network premiere of Pretty Woman on the ABC Sunday night movie. That's tomorrow. He likes that. This is right up his alley.
It's his kind of weather?
Yes, it's kind of summertime. This is Ellery Roberts in at fullback for the Cardinal, carrying. And again, nothing there.
Not a good time for your quarterback to get hurt and Butterfield to come in. Take a look here at the Cardinal in the Pac-10 this year. They're last in the Pac-10 in rushing offense. You're backed up. You're playing against the team that's at home, an aggressive Washington team, and you don't have any running game, and the weather is not conducive to throwing the football. The left arm of Stenstrom seems to be wrapped. They're taking him to the dressing room.
Time remaining 5.5 minutes in the first half. The Huskies again load up the defensive cannon on Butterfield. He rolls it out. Smith's after him, missed him, and he's chased out of bounds. Let's check in with Jack Arute.
Keith, the news is not good on Steve Stenstrom. They are taking him to the locker room. He's walking off reluctantly as we speak. In speaking to the trainer and the doctor, he is off to have x-rays of the forearm. His left forearm is swollen up. They're not sure whether it's a simple sprain or something more serious. They're going to have to wait for the x-rays as he trots into the locker room. Keith?
Thank you, Jack. And Stanford now will have to punt it. That punt cleared out of there despite a high snap. And Stonehouse has it go out of bounds right on the 34-yard hash mark. And so at 5:19 to go in the first half, the Huskies get the ball back. Good field position, leading by 14. Billy Joe Hobart has come into the ball game at quarterback now for Washington, number 12. He's the big junior, 225-pounder from Puyallup. He was the MVP in the Rose Bowl win last year. Brunell was the MVP the 2 years before. Hobart turns and gives it away to Richard Thomas. Thomas, number 30, checks into the ball game for the first time. He is out of Kent, Washington. So we got one from Puyallup at quarterback and one for Kent at running back. And that's what's going on with your top 10 today.
Only interesting thing there, Georgia, number 7, is losing, and is Colorado.
At Nebraska. The Michigan Wolverines just got out from under 2, winning around the 7 over Purdue. Hobart gives it to Jay Barry. And Barry will go down at the 40-41, brought down by John Lynch and company. In case you just wandered by and turned us on, Steve Stenstrom, the Stanford quarterback, is in for x-rays on his left arm. And Washington leads 21-7 as Napoleon Kaufman has put on quite a show in the first half. In at center is
David Ilsley. He comes in with the new quarterback, Keith, gives the two of them an opportunity to take some snaps on the sideline.
Hobart lets it go. Deep pattern. Too long. The intended receiver was Eric Bjornsson, number 14, who looked a little gimpy. But he was never able to get going and get downfield and never had a chance at it. He was the number 3 quarterback for Washington a year ago. Just as Justin Armour was the number 3 quarterback for Stanford a year ago.
And they were two highly recruited quarterbacks coming out of high school.
But there was no room at that position. So they've gone to wideout. And this is John Wardell for his 3rd punt of the day. Didn't get all of it again. He hasn't had a good one yet. Glenn Milburn takes it at the 21. Oh, my goodness. The man was blocked. Justin Thomas, number 11, Justin Thomas. He got a lot of double numbers on offense and defense. But as he was blocked, he took Glenn Milburn with him.
Well, Milburn was trying to get over here. They had a wall set up. If he could have gotten around Thomas, there was about 6 or 7 white shirts waiting for him.
So Justin Thomas, great play. And it's Stanford ball. First down, just short of the 28.
Take a look to the right side. See all the white shirts to the right. If he could have just gotten over there where his friends were, he could have run one as far as Kaufman earlier.
Lastly pops through, big hole, and will go for a Stanford first down. Cardinal now will have the ball at the 44 as Lastly popped one up the middle. The two inside backers, Hoffman and Clifford, both had committed and were taken out of the play.
Walsh now with his 2nd string quarterback goes to a hurry up, no huddle offense. This really puts pressure on the guy calling the plays, and that is Walsh. You want to protect the quarterback that's in there, get him started off on a good play or good series.
Milburn hit right along the line of scrimmage by Trevor Highfield, number 79. He is a freshman out of Wesleyan, Oregon.
Defensively, it's been an active first half for Washington. That one interception was returned for a touchdown.
Put it on the 45, 2nd down, call it 9. Butterfield lets it go, hit his man right in the numbers. It's Mike Cook making the catch. And Cook will put Stanford at the 43 of Washington and another first down. And so Mark Butterfield comes in now and starts to get the job done. California looking to go even on the season today if they can handle the Bruins.
UCLA has really had a lot of injuries, haven't they, Keith?
A terrible season for them. They chase Butterfield out of there. Now you get a penalty flag thrown by the umpire. And you know what that almost always means?
Yep.
It means this. Andy Mason hobbled off the field. He laid down for a moment, then he got up, and then he just banged his way off the field. Yeah, he's come back now. See, he's hobbling, though. He's hurting, trying to run it off.
Holding on the offense, 10 yards from the spot of the foul. Repeat first down.
Oh, got his, 75 fell on him, twisted his leg, ankle. And he went to the sideline, but he's come back.
He's an ex-linebacker, a baseball player, had an opportunity to sign baseball contract out of high school, has 16 career sacks, has won so far in the ball game today.
Well, he's getting bigger too, you know. I remember him when he was a freshman. He was bouncing around out there at 215, 212. Now he's listed at 238.
Yep. But he still has that quickness.
He was the young man who blocked the punt out of the short punt formation against Iowa in the Rose Bowl that resulted in a touchdown off the start of that ball game.
How did you remember that?
It was a great play. Butterfield rolls out, buys a little time, now throws ill-advisedly and trying to get it to Justin Armour. And he's lucky that the Purple Gang didn't come up with that one. And there's the penalty flag.
His receiver couldn't get loose. That was a two-man route. The receivers just could not shake the man that were bumping and running with them.
Holding on the defense.
That's why they couldn't get loose. They were holding.
Automatic first down.
That's an automatic first down call. It's holding from the previous spot. Halftime, Prudential halftime report. John Saunders will bring you up to date on what's been shaken in college football around the country. There were have been some near misses, and there have been some bullseyes.
You know, Bill Walsh is not your normal type of head coach, Keith. He spends a lot of time watching offensive tape in preparation for calling the plays. He's more like an offensive coordinator because he does call all the plays and, of course, handles the head coaching duties also, but loves to teach and very creative.
First and 10, and down goes Butterfield. DeMarco Farr gets the sack, and that's a total of 6 today on the Stanford quarterbacks. He's the man who replaced Steve Empman, basically.
Number 75 in the middle of your screen just goes around Dahlman, number 50. That's just a little move. Tries to get some help from Lashley and from Roberts, but DeMarco Farr beat 3 guys. He beat the center, but the right guard didn't even touch him, and then the 2 backs tried to help out.
And it's second down and 16. Back at the 45. Butterfield looks for Armour. He's not available. Lets it go the other way. It is incomplete. Intended for Cook, and defending on the play, Walter Bailey, number 23.
That was an opportunity for a big play if the taller Cook could have just come down with the ball.
Bailey is a tough customer.
Yes, he is.
But it looks like he might have jammed his hand, because he's shaking it and looking at it as he comes back toward the huddle. Stanford timeout. 1:12 to go in the first half. Those who fancy the winter sport, looking ahead to the next few weeks as the snow level is now dropped to 4,000 feet. The Cascades, and the accumulation has begun. And all those who live here are hoping they have a very large accumulation, because the snowpack has been diminishing steadily for the last couple of decades here in the top of the Cascade Mountains.
In fact, they had water rationing this summer around here.
Yes, sir. Serious business, I'll tell you. (21-7). 1:12 to go first half. Washington leads. Stanford ball. Third down and 16. Butterfield rolls out. Goes underneath with it, trying to get it to Cook. Threw it behind him. He had double coverage. Bailey and Smith were both there. And it'll be 4th down.
Not an enviable position to be down 14 points to an aggressive attacking team. In fact, Washington leads the nation in turnover margin, and you have your backup quarterback. Your number 1 quarterback is out.
Kaufman settles under the ball at about the 10. He hopes Stonehouse comes in. If Stonehouse will kick it to him. Look at that snap. He's not going to kick it to him. He kicks it off the side of his foot. Ball rolling around just inside the 20, and they'll put it down on the 19. It's a 25-yard punt, but it serves a purpose somewhat. It keeps it out of Kaufman's hand.
Yeah, and he was kicking into some wind, and he wanted a little bit better results than that, but with 57 seconds remaining, it may not make any difference.
The Washington defense, one side of the story for the Huskies, and the other, Napoleon Kaufman. He had 2 runs, one of them the jitterbug kind of a thing, and look at that. BYU jumping all over Penn State. And the other a power run. So on first down, Billy Joe Hobart turns and hands it off. And he goes to Matt Jones, who is a junior out of Portland, Oregon.
You're not forgetting about that punt return by Kaufman, are you?
No, of course not. I'm talking about running from
scrimmage.
Yeah. This is going to be the 17th consecutive game in which the University of Washington has led at halftime. Right now, there's no rain. This is Jay Barry. And he is a man they miss. He gives them power. He's the power back out of this backfield. And he runs for about 14 yards and a first down.
Trying to hurry up and run a play. I don't know why they just don't call a timeout if they want to get another play in.
Hobart lets it go. He's got Shelley, but it's too far. Shelley waited too long to make his break.
Well, he took too long to get off the jam is what you're trying to say.
Yep.
Young freshman was jammed by the corner, and Hobart's got a gun. There was some room there.
There was only one white shirt over there. That was Lynch. And if Shelley had broken away and made his turn and had been in gear, it's 6.
Hobart started the first 6 games, I believe, it's 6 games. And those of you who follow college football, as you mentioned earlier, Keith, he was the Rose Bowl MVP, took over for Brunel. You know, and he can't be real happy with the situation that's going on right now, especially his opportunity to play here today.
Kwame Ellis is covering Shelley. Shelley outruns him across the middle of the field. They'll stop the clock with 3 ticks remaining on it. And Washington will spend a timeout. So they will take a timeout here and talk over their final play of the first half. And here's Jackaroo.
Well, Keith, you can see that the rain has finally stopped. We're going to dry out. But let me tell you a story about Jay Barry. You both upstairs have talked about how much the team has missed him. Well, Jay Barry is one of those fearless guys. I mean, he'll run and he'll have people chase him. He'll take a hit. Let me tell you what he's absolutely terrified of: spiders. So in order to accomplish or overcome that fear, you know what he's done? He collects spiders. He's done it for the last 6 years. In fact, he has one of the biggest collections around. He likes to invite a lot of his teammates over and point out which are the most poisonous ones. I tell you what, in Halloween, I don't want to deal with spiders. I'm not going to Barry's house tonight to carve pumpkins.
Oh, they're loose.
They are loose.
The spirits are loose. Billy Joe Hobart has now moved over 3,000 career passing yards, 3,012.
But what I was saying about Hobart, he normally gets 2 series. If the quarterback that doesn't start gets 2 series in the second quarter. He had 1 good series, and now this one is just before the halftime, and he's got 3 seconds left. It's really an abbreviated one to try and get something on the board.
Here comes Damon Mack, Joe Krolick, and Jason Shelley to the bottom of the picture. Goes deep into the corner of the end zone. And it is incomplete. And the half is over. And after the first 30 minutes, it's Washington 21, Stanford 7. Out here in Seattle, Washington, the home team, the Washington Huskies, lead the Stanford Cardinal at halftime by 14 points. Well, the Huskies are hankering to be #1 for sure. They lead 21-7, and this is how it got that way against Stanford. The Cardinal jumped to the lead first, 7-0 on a 31-yard pass play. Stenstrom to Justin Armour, right down the middle. Steve Stenstrom started out very much in control of things, and then Napoleon Kaufman got into the act with this punt return of 65 yards to set up Washington's first touchdown. The purple jerseys form the wall for him, and then the pursuit makes him turn back, and they run him down, but they went ahead to score on this play from Mark Brunel to Leif Johnson. Brunel runs about 40 yards in order to complete a 3-yard scoring play. Stanford defense did everything in the world except account for number 34. So that made it 14-7 in the second quarter as Brunel ran it in from 1 yard, Washington's first lead of the day. Then he went to 21-7 as Dave Hoffman, the inside linebacking partner of James Clifford, puts the pressure on Steve Stenstrom. Clifford picks off the pass and gallops into the end zone from 42 yards, and that's how we got to 21. And the Stanford Cardinal fortunes diminished further with this injury to Steve Stenstrom, his left arm. He is not expected to make another appearance in the ball game today. There he is there, wrapped up on a cool, wet day, and he will not play in the second half. Glenn Milburn and Ethan Allen are waiting now for the kickoff of Travis Hansen to start the second half of play. Hansen has it a mile high, way back into the end zone. My goodness, he almost kicked it out of town. Here are the halftime stats.
35 plays apiece. Total yardage, Stanford 123, 179 for Washington. One of those Stanford turnovers was returned for a touchdown, and what you don't see there is that punt return by Kaufman that set up another touchdown for Washington. So there's the first half possessions for Stanford. They scored on their first and then didn't do much with the rest of the possessions.
Lastly, and Milburn lined up behind Mark Butterfield, who's in there at quarterback right now, and there's a bit of a gain for Lastly of maybe a yard. In the all-purpose yardage battle by the multi-purpose backs Milburn and Kaufman, it's Kaufman by 20 yards.
They're the offensive leaders for Stanford in the first half. Milburn has rushed 7 times for 17 yards. And the leading defenders for the Cougars, Fontaine has 7 and a sack and a half. Huskies.
Oh, my goodness.
Not your Cougars.
Don't get into that. Mailman will get a hernia. Here comes Milburn breaking over the right side and scoots out to the 37-yard line. Shane Paokoa knocked him out of bounds. So Milburn, who continues to roll up the yards, he had 104 in the first half, all-purpose yards, total yards. Kaufman had 124. And there you can see how they accumulated those yards, and that last run by Milburn is included in that 119. So it's first down for Stanford from the 37. Hand the ball away to Ellery Roberts. And Roberts ran into that purple bunch, and he isn't going very far. Number 53 is James Clifford. Here's Jack.
Well, Keith, if you look over here on the sidelines, the man in the tarpaulin there, Steve Stenstrom. Good news, it's not a break. It's a severe sprain. Now, where it is, Keith, is right up here on the forearm area. It just balled up like a baseball, but he's okay.
Oh, that must hurt.
Got hit by the helmet.
Yep. It's called face mask. They run Milburn inside. He's tough in there and moves out to the 45-yard line where he is 2 yards short of the first down as Paokoa brings him down.
It's something they don't like to do, and that is run Milburn, who's only 5'9" and 175 pounds inside, where you're going to take the shots from these big guys, the linebackers, and guys like Paokoa, who is a 202-pound free safety.
No, it's a 170-pounder. It's going to get pretty sore if he runs in there very much.
For sure.
Crowd gets into it on 3rd down and 2. Milburn slips, loses his momentum, and will not get the first down. Paokoa, Moore, and Jamal Fontaine was the man that turned him back and caused him perhaps to lose his footing, and he lost his momentum, and it'll be 4th down.
Well, the Huskies came in the leading defensive team in the Pac-10 on 3rd downs. They are great stopping offenses on 3rd down and forcing them to punt. Well, it looks like they're going to go for it on 4th down.
4th and 2. And listen to the crowd. Fumble. Washington's ball. Steve Hoffman
4th down, you certainly don't want to lose it on a fumble. That time he had the ball too far out, and number 40, Nathan Olson, is going to knock the ball out of his hands. The the fullback, knocked the ball out of his hands before he could hand it off.
Mark Brunell starts the second half at quarterback for Washington, going for 6. Just missed. Pass intended for Joe Krolick. Defended by Darian Gordon.
That last fumble is not the fault of the fullback. It's the fault of the quarterback for sticking it out that far. Take a look at first half possessions. Offensively, Brunell was 7 of 11. A touchdown and an interception. Kaufman led the rushers, and Shelley, the freshman, the receivers. Bryant for Stanford led the tackles.
Kaufman taken down by Mike Hall, a sophomore out of Torrance, number 48. Put the ball on the 41. Call it 3rd down and 9. Brunell gets away from one man, gets his pass off. He's got a man wide open. Jason Shelley, touchdown. Cornerback was up trying to blitz. It was 11 against 10.
Well, you just got to give this one to Brunell. He just runs around, avoids being tackled. Now Bryant, number 4, was up pressuring the quarterback, but the opposite corner, Gordon, left his man to come up to make the play on the quarterback.
Bjornsson picks it up, throws it in the end zone, and it is incomplete as the ball got away. So the extra point try fails, and it's 27-7 Washington, 11:19 to go, 3rd quarter. Shelley celebrating. Better go learn to run those patterns a little crisper, then you'll have a lot more to
that was a gift right there. You didn't do anything special there. That was just a gift.
Look at this kickoff. Didn't even hit on the playing area. It went well beyond the end zone.
Let's go back. Shelley is lined up here. He's going to come down and start across the field. Let's go ahead and start it. And I'll show you where he is going to end up. You stop it right there. These 2 men over here, let me punch this up again. These 2 men over here are going to be taken out of it. Now when he runs over here, let's go ahead and advance it. Watch his corner that's trailing him trip and fall. Now he just takes down to the left side. Brunell finds him, and that's an easy touchdown. Brunell made it though by keeping the play alive.
27-7 Washington. Butterfield lets it go, completes the pass up on the 35, and the receiver slides ahead to about the 36. David Calamise, senior out of St. Louis, making the catch. Travis Hansen on that last kickoff with the wind at his back, about 80 yards.
Out of the end zone, huh?
Over, way beyond the end zone. Never touched it. 70,821. There was some talk that they might be looking at a record today, but local television and a bit of tacky weather, and they settled for a little less than 71. Try to run a reverse. But that, I tell you what, that bird ain't gonna fly, because Tommy Smith has got him right by the seat of the britches, and down goes Calamise. And there's a loss on the play, back to about the 28-yard line.
It's very difficult to run a reverse against an attacking, aggressive, cross the line of scrimmage defense like Washington implements.
They mark it on the 30 as being the point of progress. See that Florida leads Georgia by 6. Butterfield's pass, good catch. Through a rope, Mike Cook caught it. And and he's close to his first down, but just short by a yard. He's up on the 46. You got to go to the 47.
Well, that's the recipe that Walsh came in with, and that is quick drops, quick passing. That time Washington wasn't up in their face, and he was able to get some execution on it. But for the most part, Washington has jammed up those lanes and jammed the wide receivers where they couldn't get open.
20-point lead for the Huskies at 27-7. Ellery Roberts, Nathan Olson, and Jeff Bucky check in. Butterfield lets it go for Justin Armour. He's got it. He's got a big play. He's inside the 20 and down at the 15-yard line. So Stanford now trailing by 20. Nothing to lose. Opening it up a little more.
Well, it's good play action because you show run right here. The receiver is just going to come down and break to the outside, and with the aggressive 11-man defense, you see he's wide open. And Butterfield does a nice job of getting it, but again, not enough speed by the wide receivers to outrun and make a touchdown out of that play.
First down from the 15. Butterfield mix up there. He went the other way, and Armour comes back into the middle. And he threw it to the outside. Armour has 4 catches for 94 yards, and that last play was good for 39 to give them their first down, now second down, and 10 at 15.
Here's what Stanford has done inside the 20.
Sun pumps out. Nice and bright.
Yep.
You don't see it on the field because of the way the stadium is constructed, the overhang. That's Milburn in motion. Butterfield back. Passes down the middle. That's 6. Justin Armour, but look out. It may come back. Penalty flags are on the field. That could be his second touchdown, or it could come back. The Cardinals look a bit dejected.
Ball start on the offense. Repeat second down.
So it will come back.
Ball start. Tough call against a team that's struggling to get any kind of offense going. Second guy from the top moves just a little bit. The left tackle. That is probably Dittman, number 73. That's a big play right there. Takes a touchdown away, and you're really struggling. You had 7 on the board. Bill Walsh, 23-9 at Stanford. Oregon State a couple weeks ago said they were preparing for offensively against Stanford. 72 different formations they had to prepare for Walsh and the Stanford offense. That's
second down and 15 from the 20. Into the end zone, too high. Cook was down there, covered by Walter Bailey. Washington goes to Tucson next Saturday. Stanford is at home against Southern California. They're both kind of rowing in deep water. Oregon leads Washington State, and I'm not surprised at that, because Washington State had their balloon punctured just a bit last week in Los Angeles. But it's still a team that can play New Year's Day if they keep winning.
Very much so.
Third down and 15. Armour goes in motion. Here they come. Passes away. Passes caught by Glenn Milburn at the 13-yard line. Well short of the first down. It's just 2 yards beyond the original line of scrimmage in this possession. And it'll bring up 4th down. Eric Abrams, a freshman out of San Diego, out of La Jolla Country Day School, considered one of the best in the country.
True freshman.
He leads the Pac-10 in scoring. Bad snap. He covers it. So the whole thing's coming unglued right now for the Stanford Cardinals.
Well, it's coming unglued when you stop to realize that about 3 plays earlier, they had the ball in the end zone for a touchdown, and that was called back.
Chris Berg, who is now the backup quarterback, was the man who covered it. 27-7, the Stanford is turned away. Lose the touchdown by the penalty and then come away with zip.
Washington defensively, they came in first in turnover margin and second in scoring defense in the nation. And they certainly have followed along those lines here this afternoon.
First down, Huskies, 31-yard line. Brunell back, throws it very quickly. Has a man, and the catch is good for a gain to the 40-yard line with Theron Hill, a freshman out of Gardena, California, making the play. Maybe I should call him Theron, like the public address announcer is calling him Theron.
Well, whatever, he's a true freshman, and the idea is to get a little bit more speed at wide receiver for the Huskies, and he has that along with Shelley, the other freshman.
Penalty. Let's see about it. Against Washington, ABC's NFL Monday Night Football as the Vikings and the Bears squaring off. Minnesota sitting on top of the black and blue, what used to be the black and blue division. Is it still, Bob?
Yeah, it still is. I think the Bears are certainly, well, they're not what they used to be, but they're still pretty good.
That's at 9 Eastern time on ABC's NFL Monday Night Football. California's laid it on the Bruins. Bruins had that 204, their scoring string broken at 245 last week.
Well, they're using their 4th quarterback of the year, too.
That's right. Brunell is now 9 of 14 for 95 yards. He still got it. Got 2 Cardinal looking at him, but he gets it away, and a pass good to Matt Jones. And the Husky fullback gets it on the Stanford side of the field to the 46-yard line where Jason Fisk brings him down. Penalty flag sitting back here on about the 39-yard line on the Stanford side. So let's see about that one. Cardinal have been flagged a goodly bit this year. And it's called holding on Washington.
This are all the quarterbacks that have played in the game today. 2 for Stanford, 2 for Washington. Brunell has thrown for 2 touchdowns. Stanford has had 1 called back.
There's some confusion on this call here because the man who threw the flag down here at the 40-yard line couldn't possibly have seen holding without having the eyes of an eagle.
Leaves it with a 1st and 10.
Yeah, it had to occur downfield. And it'll be a 1st down. So the holding occurred downfield far enough that they still have their 1st down. And they will own it at their own 43-yard line with 7:40 to go in the 3rd quarter and leading 27-7. This is Napoleon Kaufman. Kind of got staggered off balance a bit when number 48 bumped into him, Mike Hall, and then Dave Garnett finally brought him down. But there's still the gain to the 48 of 5 yards. You better hobble him pretty quick or he's going to get
Yes,
some.
sir. Yes, sir. He's exciting, and he's the 3rd stringer starting out the season. Beano Bryant was the starter, and Jay Berry was the backup. Both have been out with injuries. Beano hasn't played much at all.
This is Kaufman on the option. 1st down, out of bounds at the Stanford 41. So Brunell held the ball to the last millisecond and delivered it to Kaufman.
This is why I think that that Washington is better with Brunell running the offense this year than Hobart, because he has the ability to make something happen with the option. Hobart does not run as well as Brunell. That's 10 carries now for 80 yards for Kaufman. Last year, when they had some better receivers on the outside, more of a passing team, Hobart's the better passer, but Brunell is better rounded.
From the 40, Brunell throws it. Vaughn Bryant thought, oh, maybe I got one. But he couldn't make the catch either. Damon Barry had no chance. Damon, a younger brother of Jay, both from North Glen, Colorado.
There's an update on Kaufman and Milburn. Milburn has 133 yards. Kaufman 146, both below their average per game.
Kaufman got a breather on the sidelines, comes back, gets the ball, and runs it right down the highway for about 13, 14 yards. Dave Garnett kept him from getting his feet under him and scoring.
It's a little delay. Sprint draw, but good blocking up front. A huge hole. That's Peterson, 60. And the left side of the line doing a nice job.
Barry checks into the backfield. Jones goes out. Kaufman is out. Double wide to the bottom of the picture now for the Huskies. And Brunell turns and gives it to Barry. Barry gets it to the 20. They'll need 4 more for the first down.
What a great job Don James has done, Keith, building this program up. He's won 21 straight national championship. He's undefeated again this year. He was undefeated last year.
Coaching is management of people. That includes your coaching staff.
That's exactly right. He lost 3 coaches from that staff.
He does it as well as he. Here's a pitch to Barry. Got a couple of Cardinal out there to get a hold of him, and he's going to lose a yard on the play, as Darian Gordon and Ron George would have nothing of it.
Don James has had 15 straight winning seasons here at the University of Washington. 13 bowl games in 17 years. That's including 5 Rose Bowls, and he's has a 4-1 record in those.
He's going to try, if he can win the conference championship this year, to do something no team has ever done. And that's win 3 in a row. He's got 2. The pass is caught. Damon Barry had it ricochet off his chest, but it bounced straight up, and he was able to grab it on the way down and complete the pass and get the first down at the Stanford 12-yard line. 5:05 to play in the third quarter. Washington 27-7, and looking for more. Damon Barry is out of there. Jay Barry, his brother, stays. Matt Jones in front of him. You got 3 tight ends on the field. 2 tight ends, Bruner, Conwell, and they keep 1 wide out in. And Matt Jones carries for a couple of yards. So the Huskies looking to play some power football down here at 4.5 minutes to go in the third quarter. You see my cousin?
It's your look-alike.
Move your board, Todd.
I tell you, they're loose, folks.
That guy's been working with you for a long time, hasn't he? Huh?
Too long. Underneath there is Dave Burnson. This is Jay Barry. He's down to the marker, maybe just short of it. Right about the 2, but I think he was popped out of bounds just a whisker short. All depends on the judgment and the spot by the linesman. They may have to bring the chains all the way across the field to check this one out.
Third down, inches to go.
They call it third. That's a guess. I'll guarantee you. Matt Jones, touchdown.
Huskies offensive line, just a gap in there, and he runs over the linebacker. That's Hall, 48, is carried into the end zone.
Travis Hansen. Good. It is now 34-7. Washington. Washington campus, the central quadrangle, known by some on a bad day as Red Square. Gathering place, especially during the spring days when the sun is warm. They'll come out and gather around in the lunch and enjoy it. Beautiful place. There's Matt Jones, the young man that popped it into the end zone for the Huskies to put them up 34-7. Travis Hansen, with the wind at his back, lofts it into the end zone. There'll be no return of it. Stanford will bring it out to the 20-yard line, and there they will try again. Those are the games we've got for you next week. Can't tell you the Pac-10 game. I can't tell you but two games. One, Alabama at LSU, and San Diego State at Wyoming. I remember one time many years ago back in the 60s, Bob doing a game at Wyoming. Hunter hit it. Perfect spin on it. Nice tight spiral. -9 yards. You talk about wind.
Some wind,
oh, it can blow. First down now as Butterfield sets Stanford up with Milburn and Lashley behind him. Butterfield's pass incomplete. Trying to get the ball to Glenn Milburn, and he couldn't do it. Now let's check in for the latest news about the Dogs and the Gators. How about them Dogs? Remember that a few years ago? Herschel and the folks were walking around to the national championship for the Bulldogs. But the Gators have got them on the ears right now. Butterfield's pass thrown underneath to Cook. And Cook's going to have a first down for the Cardinal as he comes across the 35. I'll tell you what, Bob, I like the looks of these two lanky wide receivers, Cook and Armour.
Right here, they just, we need to get this thing slapped upside the head. Here's Cook. He's going to come. He's coming across the field, but they just need a little bit more speed. The receivers, Cook and Armour, are good possession receivers, but Walsh and his offense at Stanford just does not have the speed that he'd like to have in the group.
He will from the 36. Oh, that's much too long. My goodness, that sailed away and flew into the far night. Oregon leading Washington State in the second quarter at Pullman, 9-0. This is a ball game that Washington State has to win if they have any hopes of going to a bowl game.
Yep. You see Walsh there, you know that this is not what he had hoped for, obviously. The defense for Washington has set up 3 of the scores. They've had 2 takeaways. And the missed field goal set up the 3rd touchdown.
Armour goes in motion. Little quick one, incomplete. Penalty flag out of the pocket of the umpire. Here comes that funny looking sign again.
We mentioned early on that one team was a physical team, the other a finesse. Don James has the physical team in his defense, and the finesse of the Walsh's offense just does not have it today. The big hammer of the purple is taken over.
3.5 minutes remaining to play in the third quarter. And the ball has been moved back on that penalty to the 21-yard line. Second down and 25. Whistles and flags.
Dead ball. All starts on the offense.
Stanford having trouble keeping it together. Here's Jack.
Keith, one of the outstanding defensive players this weekend, and in fact all year. You've talked about him. Number 21, Shane Pawakua for the Huskies. The fact that he is alive, let alone playing football, is a miracle. You know, when he was 8 years old, a cousin of his at a barbecue threw gasoline on the fire, and Shane suffered third-degree burns over his neck, his face, his arm, and his chest. His mother, Donna, says that that's what turned him into sports. He said he needed that ego builder, and with a helmet on and shoulder pads, he thought he could do it.
And he's one of the top safeties in the country as a senior right now.
7 people on the line for Washington. Good protection for Butterfield, but he can't deliver the ball to Armour, the man he was trying to find. The other man, Cook, on a fly down the sideline, was well covered by Walter Bailey. The Stanford problems for the day can be summed up in one little piece of paper like this: 6 sacks, 7 penalties, 3 turnovers, and 1 muffed field goal. That'll get you beat.
Yep. And your starting quarterback out of the game, and you have to use your backup. That's the 16th time that a Stanford quarterback has been hit after he threw the ball legally.
Ethan Allen and J.J. Leslie in the backfield now. Butterfield. Andy Mason's going to take him down. And Stanford will punt.
Well, that's a coverage sack. You've heard it before. That means the receivers downfield are all covered. Nobody's open.
Oh, this is a loud crowd when they get it going, and their team is winning. Oh, Napoleon Kaufman standing back just across midfield for Stonehouse punt. Low liner, got a shot at it. 35. Couple of blocks. Nope, couldn't get it. That's good pursuit downfield by number 38 for the Stanford Cardinal, Billy Whitman. He's a strong safety. Let's pause 5 seconds so our ABC stations can tell you who they are.
This is KOMO TV4 Seattle.
We're winding down toward the end of the third quarter. The Washington Huskies, ranked number 2 in the nation, with 3 AP voters in the House looking at them, slapping Stanford around pretty good right now at 34-7.
Stanford not really putting up the test that a lot of people thought, but Washington has a couple of tough games coming up.
They're all beat up. Give you an idea, I mean, they're I'm sure they probably had a couple of seats open on the traveling squad. But for example, Mike Jerich, offensive tackle, and Jeff Bailey, offensive tackle, didn't come, and they're the 2 backups on the left-hand side of the offensive line.
Nor did Toby Norwood, the starting inside linebacker, and Coy Gibbs, the other linebacker, has been nicked all year and been in and out of the ball game.
They're just simply running out of folks right now and playing the kind of a schedule they're playing, and I've got to go home and look at Southern California next week. That was Jay Barry carrying the ball for Washington.
And they're not that deep to start with. They have 25, 30 players, and
30 at the most.
Yeah.
Drop-off becomes quite severe, but again, I expect it'll change. Arkansas and Auburn. 24-24 sister kisser. Every time I say that, I get in trouble.
From whom?
Oh, lots of folks. 40-yard line sets the ball. They're 2nd down and 3. Barry's got the first down. This Washington team does not have the same dominating presence that the team of a year ago did. At least not yet.
Well, they don't. They're not as good defensively. Be losing Empman and Dana Hall, both #1 draft choices, and losing some guys offensively. But still, they're #1 or #2 in the country, and they were so much better than the rest. They in Miami last year that they could lose some players and still be one of the top teams.
Brunell going for it. Shelley caught it. Out of bounds at the 16-yard line. First down, Huskies, and Vaughn Bryant was in his pocket, and he still caught it. And let's go to John Saunders.
Ohio State.
Who was a stone-fingered that ball in the end zone and blew a touchdown?
There's the end of that last play. The Huskies don't need this. As he got his foot down in bounds, they don't need that for this game, but they are building toward the end of the year and possibly the Rose Bowl. But that Jason Shelley can come on and make some plays like that when its game is in the tight ball game.
Richard Thomas is now in the backfield for the Huskies, and here is another youngster that figures to find a place to play down the road. November is the month when they grow up. That's the time when the young would step up in the support roles in the #2 and 3 positions. They play better. And when they have to play, the quality does not drop off. There's the pitch back to Jay Barry. He just put his helmet in somebody's stomach and gave him a ride. Kwame Ellis. He didn't get a whole lot out of it, but 2 yards is better than nothing.
For sure. Talking about those youngsters being ready to play. I thought you might be talking about that guy right there. You were talking about youngsters getting ready to play. I thought you were getting ready to send him out there.
Well, I think he's getting ready to play too.
Looks to me like he is. He'll play somewhere, you're right.
As long as the 12 gauge doesn't tree him somewhere. Brunell back. Pumps it. That gives him the break. See, he got away from that one man with a pump, throws it down the pipe, and throws it right into the arms of Vaughn Bryant. Vaughn Bryant has been around an interception all day, and he finally got an easy one.
That's his 4th interception on the year. He's returned one for a touchdown, as James has some words for Brunell.
Well, he forced it. He forced it.
Take a look. Back to pass, crossing routes, the 2 inside receivers. Coverage is there. Now the top left of your screen, top left, back of the end zone. There's the man he's looking for. He just doesn't get enough steam on it and get it high enough in the back. Been a tough throw anyway. But Bryant gets his 4th interception of the year.
And the Cardinals take over at their own 20. Butterfield gives to Lashley. Huskies eat him up after a 2-yard pickup. Hillary Butler, number 45, leads the defensive play for Washington. They get that brace on the back of the neck and get all hunkered down in there. I'm telling you, they're forbidding looking, aren't they?
Well, when you can't run, and Stanford came in last in the Pac-10 in rushing, I mean, you can just forget about defensing the run and just come on and, well, they have 6 or 7 sacks on the day, 3 or 4 takeaways, and it's just tough.
We've played 3 quarters. We'll be back after this message and a word from our ABC station. The final period of play with Washington leading Stanford 34-7. Cardinal with the football at their own 22-23-yard line. Mark Butterfield, the quarterback. Steve Stenstrom, injured arm. First half of play has not returned. Butterfield lets it go long and deep, and it's too far.
Incomplete.
And it'll fall harmless to the SERP as David Calavis could not run it down.
3-quarter stats. Washington total yards 359 yards through 3 quarters. That's against a Stanford defense that ranked 3rd in the nation coming into the game today. You also don't see on there 6 quarterback sacks by the Washington defense.
Third down and 8. Stanford man left too soon. Cook did, but he got away with it. The ball is bounced in front of him, and it is incomplete, and it'll bring up 4th down. ABC's college football, brought to you by the Honda Accord, celebrating its 10th anniversary of production in the United States. Stonehouse in the punt. Just barely got it out of there, but it's one of those old-fashioned kicks. Off the inside of his foot, end over end, gets a roll, and on the rug it goes all the way down to the 19-yard line, a total of 58 yards. One of the reasons that Washington has been long since in control of this game, the fact that the Stanford key defensive people who have been dominant personalities in some of their wins have been silent today. Ron George, for example, has only 2 assists. Washington, of course, sharing the national championship with the Miami Hurricanes of a year ago, and the Pac-10 action today. And Billy Joe Hobart is the quarterback for the Washington Huskies. Probably will finish the game. Pitches the option out for Kaufman. Little bit late getting it going, and Dave Garnett is able to penetrate and make the play. Outside linebacker on the field side. Number 42.
It's his 35th start. This Stanford defense, I mentioned 10 starters back from last year, 7 seniors and 4 juniors in the starting lineup, a veteran group. A lot of these players have started for 2 and 3 years in this group.
Jay Barry is deep now for the Huskies. Pops. Pop, 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 pop. Helmet, 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 helmet. Finally, bring him out.
Tackle was made by John Lynch. Keith, he is leading the team in tackles, and he was drafted. He has got 9 tackles today. He was drafted in the Major League draft last June by the expansion Florida Marlins. In fact, he was drafted in the 2nd round, and he pitched their first game up in Erie, Pennsylvania, and his cap is in the Hall of Fame. First pitcher for the expansion Florida Marlins, and doing a great job at free safety for Stanford.
Hey, the Stanford baseball program's been pretty good for a long time.
Yes, it has.
National championship banners hanging down there as Barry tries to get something going here for his first down downfield. You got a couple of people hung up. You get Jason Shelley and Darian Gordon going at it, and a penalty flag is thrown. Let's see about that one. Looks like Gordon might have been sent to the sidelines because he came walking off the field, and his profile was not a happy one.
Well, he is a true freshman, is Jason Shelley. He's had a good day, but he's been hot dogging it a little bit, and I think the veteran players out there on both sides kind of expect that the freshmen need to wait their turn and show a little bit more respect.
Well, we saw that earlier when he was having his good time after the touchdown. Jamal Fontaine
exactly.
took him by the
he was
arm.
hot dogging it in front of the camera and went over and grabbed him.
There are 2 dead ball penalties. Dead ball foul against Washington. That's half the distance to the goal line. Dead ball foul against Stanford and an ejection. The result is an automatic first down, Washington.
So Gordon is out of the ball game. And I think that Jason Shelley is headed for a very firm conversation with his coach tomorrow, if not tonight. Ron Riddell will come in to replace Darian Gordon. And Bill now, you just know what Bill's saying to him.
Saying something like, you can't lose your cool.
That's right.
No matter how, because Shelley was hot dogging on him. He says you can't lose your cool. Bill can lose his cool, but not Gordon. He's got to play. There's his replacement. It's Riddell.
Hobart hands it off on first down, and it's Richard Thomas. And Thomas made a lot out of very little. Picked up about 7 yards before they could finally wrestle him down. That's one of the hard things to do. Now, when you're sitting down there and what we just saw here and talked about, you got a hot dog and you get sick and tired of it, and your team's getting beat, and all of these things are going on.
Especially when you know the guy hot dogging is a freshman. Ooh.
I suspect I might lose my temper a little bit.
Yep.
Yep. That's part of the combative sport that it is. And it's the ones who control themselves who will ultimately win it. Thomas goes for the first down, moving the ball across the 35 to the 36. Georgia's got a problem with the Gators down in Jacksonville. Isn't that always the case, though, that Georgia has been the toast of the Southeast for about 10 days, 2 weeks now? Here's old Steve sitting down there with his Gators, just getting ready for them.
I think Florida has won that game, too, the last 2 or 3 years.
Yep. 9-point lead for the Gators in that ballgame. This is Jay Barry. And he's a yard short of his first down. John Lynch finally knocked him out of bounds.
Lynch was an ex-quarterback. He first came to Stanford as a quarterback, and you know, the people at Stanford say it's much easier to recruit offensive players and move them to defense. They do that with a lot of the quarterbacks. Lynch was a quarterback. His backup, Tommy Connect, is an ex-quarterback. Their 2 defensive corners are ex-wide receivers.
Gordon and Bryant.
Right.
Huskies now just running the ball, grinding out the clock. They lead 34-7. They got plenty of points. All they need to do is run the clock, and we run to Jack the Roof.
Keith, the Washington fans, they love their Huskies, but they wear more than their colors. They buy official Husky products as well. We've got Husky popcorn. We've also got Husky potato chips. We've got Husky potatoes and Husky cola. All of the money goes to the University of Washington Athletic Department. Back to you.
Well, if that's what it does to you, they ain't going to sell a lot of it.
Never seen you looking better, Jack. Thought he was going to put on a mask.
Kind of like yours, you know, that left eye needs a little work. Makeup.
Thanks a lot.
Jay Barry breaks loose. Oh, it's Billy Hobart. It's Hobart. Billy Joe Hobart, a quarterback, went snaking through there looking for all the world like a running back. And turned on the Jets and took it in. 50-yard touchdown run. So Billy Joe Hobart has a chance to celebrate.
He's saying, you tell me I can't run this option?
Yeah, that's probably exactly why he did it.
Well, he can run.
Travis Henson. Good. 11-11. And that may very well have been the door slammer right there. Now Washington 41 and Stanford 7.
Take a look at it from the end zone. Fake to the fullback. Sees a hole. Gets up through the hole. Safety misses the tackle.
This is his second long run of the year.
Yes, it is.
And he likes it. You know, he played for Coach Ewart down at Puyallup High. Coach Ewart's son Damon is sitting on the bench right now. Brunell is a senior. Hobart figures to be the man next year. And then behind Billy will be young Damon Heward.
We'll probably see him in this ball game, and not too shortly, very shortly, I should say. He's hearing some good things right there about how to run that option and running it.
Well, it's a quick decision. And he made it at the right time in the right place at that time. Washington has run off 41 unanswered points. They won this ball game a year ago down at Stanford. It was the opener, 42-7. They now lead 41-7. Here's Hansen kicking off into the wind. It's taken by Allen. And back to the 30-yard line. .11:07 to play in the game. Washington 41, Stanford 7. Those viewers in the Northeast, you're going to be joining John Saunders now. And those of you in the West will stay with us. Ethan Allen and Nathan Olson in the backfield for the Cardinal right now. Washington beginning to play a lot of substitute people as well. Lamar Lyons on the field, Lewis Jones. Josh Moore, we thought, might be the man they would pick on today. They did in the first possession, but that's been the only time.
Yep. Look at this graphic, Keith. Very telling. Josh Moore has done a very nice job, and he'll be the next outstanding corner for the Huskies. They've had some good ones.
Butterfield hands the ball off to Ethan Allen. He's from St. Peter, Minnesota. He's a junior. They come from all over the country to go to school at the farm. And we've got 10 minutes to play in this ball game, which is now one-sided. In case it has wandered through your mind and you don't know, Miami plays tonight against West Virginia in Miami. Butterfield has a lot of open space in front of him and goes ahead and runs for his first down.
He should get down, though. He shouldn't take those shots, especially with your first string quarterback on the sideline, injured.
He stuck his head right in there.
He did. He certainly did. 6'4" and 200.
He might come out 5'9".
There's a look at Stenstrom, injured left forearm. And they hope that he'll be able to play the rest of the season.
This is Allen again, belted out at the 45-yard line with 9:50 to play in the ball game. Tomorrow on ABC Sports, beginning at 10:30 in the morning Eastern Time, 7:30 Pacific, the New York City Marathon live. 25,000 folks pounding through the city streets. And then at 3:30 Eastern, 3 Eastern, 2 Pacific, Jack Nicklaus showcases the toughest 18 holes of golf presented by Nationwide Insurance. Then we'll find out if the Zinger can hang on and win that big thing back there in North Carolina, the Tour Championship. That's all tomorrow on ABC Sports. So the Husky reserves now swarm through there, led by Steve Springstead and Donovan Schmidt. And they killed that play back around the 45-yard line.
Sacks 6 for Washington defense. They've intercepted 2. They've had a fumble recovery. 17 quarterback sacks in addition to the 6 sacks. 17 hits in addition to the 6 sacks. And that 1 interception was ran back for a touchdown.
Ball on the 46, just beyond it for the snap. 3rd down, Butterfield lets it go, got it to Cook, and Cook just depends on your mark. Looks like they're going to give him a good mark and give him the first down. Wind now is at Stanford's back, and it's brisk. It's probably a good 15-20 miles an hour, maybe more, because that great big American flag now standing out pretty straight. Wrong Wrong holiday. Wrong holiday. Send him home. Butterfield now 7 out of 15 for 118 yards. Here it comes. Lewis Jones, number 1. 7 sacks of the Stanford quarterback. I think Lewis looked up and said, "There's nobody in front of me." He almost fell down.
From the right side, Jones is the backup strong safety. This Washington defense has given up. It's a big play defense. They lead the nation in turnover margin, we told you. They ran one back. They've given up 12 big plays of 30 yards or more this year. You take those 12 plays out of these 8 games, they would be the #1 ranked defense in the Pac-10. As it is, they're 7th.
2nd down and 15, and Butterfield overthrows Armour. He doesn't have much touch on that long ball, does he?
He doesn't.
He's been long and high with it almost every time he's thrown it.
Here's what Washington has ahead of them. Next week, they go to Arizona, and their last game is in Pullman. Stanford now is eliminated from the Pac-10 race.
That's 2 pretty good bumps in the road.
Yep. Arizona is still in the race, although they have a win. They have a loss and a tie.
Yeah. But actually, it was Arizona when they beat UCLA that crippled their team. And then Arizona hammered Stanford. And Stanford struggled against Oregon State. And then they had to come up here, short of people. Those Wildcats are tough. Physically tough. Butterfield's pass thrown underneath to Lasley. And he will get back to the original line of scrimmage and bring up 4th down and 10. Right now, you look at Southern California as a principal challenger, perhaps, to Washington in the Pac-10. And the Huskies have already beaten them. Their 1 loss. Stonehouse into punt. Dave Burnson tells me that in his career, his punt yardage, he's just 247 yards short of 5 miles. So that'll help. Goes through the end zone. That's accumulated, of course, over 4 years. And folks, I really have no idea whether it's true or not. Toward evening, and it comes early up in this part of the country with heavy low clouds. What was the name of the new dog? It used to be Sun Dodger for all of them, and now they've decided that individually they'll have names. Is that right? King Rita, yes.
Good looking dog, isn't it?
Oh yeah, that's good. Huckabee slammed down. Let's get an update on the Colorado Buffaloes and the Nebraska Cornhuskers from John. Wow, that's another team that Washington beat here. They beat the Cornhuskers here in Seattle early in the season.
They did.
Yes, I would say they've made some points today, wouldn't you? If it really matters. It really truly doesn't. What really truly matters is January 2nd. This is Huckabee, a sophomore from Sunnyvale, California, and that's just down the road from Stanford.
I guess it does matter in a way, though, Keith. If both Washington and Miami continue to win and go into that final day, I guess it does matter how you go into the final January 1. See how you come out. If you both win on January 1, then it does matter where you are when you go into that game.
Going to be a lot of guys at ABC holding their breath till they turn purple, hoping that those 4 teams can all stay undefeated till New Year's Day.
How about Michigan and Washington in the Rose Bowl?
Followed by Alabama, Miami in the Sugar Bowl. That's a pipe dream at this juncture, because we're now in the middle of the conference season. And when you play old conference foes, nothing is secure. BYU, a big surprise of the day as they slapped Penn State by 13. And so the wheels have kind of come off the Nittany Lion wagon for the time being. And it all started with that loss to Miami.
Yeah, that's a surprise, too. Paterno had a lot of players coming back. Well, he lost his quarterback, and he's had some problems there.
Little quick pass zipped in there by Hobart to Theron Hill, and Hill's going to have a Husky first down. Hobart is so strong that he can throw the ball off that back foot and still burn your fingers. If time permits, we invite you to stay tuned for the Thrifty Car Rental post-game report featuring scores and highlights from across the country.
Hobart's a little bit different than Brunell, the other quarterback. He has thrown for 200 yards or more in a game 8 times in his career, whereas Brunell has yet to throw for 200 yards.
Brunell, however, runs, you know, I asked Don James yesterday if Brunell runs a little more orderly offense, and he said no. He's just been playing a little bit better. And there's a penalty flag. And he had earned the right to start, and the option offense just happens to be the thing that fits best right now.
Right now, last year was more passing, and Hobart, I think there's no question, has a better future down the road as a pure quarterback. Brunell is more of an option style, although he throws the ball very well.
Here's Pat Flood.
There was an inadvertent whistle on the play. There was also a holding penalty on the offense. 10-yard penalty from the end of the run. Repeat first down.
You know, it's remarkable how well Don James has recovered from having a cheekbone broken in 3 places. And there's hardly any swelling. We didn't know that he had been run over by a loose linebacker. You wouldn't even know he was hurt.
It happened on the right side of his face.
4 minutes coming up to go in the ball game, and the wind now getting quite strong into the face of the Washington offense. See the rain coming down again. Hobart pitches it outside to Huckabee, but Uteka doesn't find much daylight out there, and down he goes at the 35. Here's your game summary. Sort of happened as they've accumulated this 41-7 lead. 7 sacks, 17 quarterback hits, rush per carry, the yards per rushing carry. Brunell's story, Hobart's story, and add to it Steve Stenstrom being on the sideline.
That was a key part of it too, Keith. Very good point. Hobart, the backup. It's nice to have a backup that's never lost as a starter. 16 starts. He won all 16 of the games, did Billy Joe Hobart.
That ball was loose, and Leif Johnson, who caught a touchdown pass earlier, in pursuit of it, appears to have recovered it. Here are your games for next week now. Washington at Arizona. Alabama at LSU. Texas A&M and Louisville. San Diego State at Wyoming. And Wisconsin at Michigan State. Wisconsin becoming a story in the Big Ten this season. But for those of you in the West, the big game is Washington at Tucson against Arizona. Damon Huard is now in the ball game, the redshirt freshman quarterback. And Huckabee carries on this play. Huard gets into the ball game at 2:20 to go. You might just want to tuck that name away in your memory, because you will hear it again somewhere down the road.
Yeah, you got to feel like he's the forgotten guy. He's behind 2 quarterbacks. They have each been the MVP in the Rose Bowl, and one of them has led the team to a national championship. So he's just waiting his time, waiting his turn.
Wardell will punt it. Well, that's the best one of the day, and he just killed it into the wind. Runs Milburn all the way back to the 10-yard line, and finally down at the 13 with 1:34 to play in the game. Halloween has been kind of a fun time for the Washington Huskies. That tie was against Oregon State back in 1914. So they've enjoyed Halloween. Very dark now as a leather squall comes in off Puget Sound. Chris Berg is in at quarterback now for Stanford. And this game has long since been one of young people learning and running out the clock, really. Basically, that's what it amounts to. Executive producer of ABC Sports is Jack O'Hara. Coordinating producer of ABC's college football, Bob Goodrich, who produced today's game. Directed by Larry Cam. Our technical director, Gary Larkins. Associate producer for college football is Jim Ressler. Associate director, Janice Casasa. Our production manager, Joe Alvarado. Technical operations managers, Al Fong and Frank Fager. Berg hands it off. And there's a little bit there for Allen. Not a lot. Out to about the 20. Assistants to the producer, Steve Shunk and Paula Coker. Our statistician, the Werewolf. Spotter, Todd Barry. Computer statistician, who is Tim Goodman. Our booth coordinator, Paula DeBlick. And our sideline coordinator, Tony Alivato. And the man driving the bus, Bob Greasy.
The old bus driver.
California, 48 points today. You know, that's a pretty good football team, Bob.
California.
They just had some
A university alum of some sorts, a representative.